You'll want to match skills tonight with our panel of experts as we invite you to play What's My Line? Well, now, let's meet our lineup of distinguished personalities whose lines you probably already know. First, the distinguished neuropsychiatrist, Dr. Richard Hoffman.
And to my right, my favorite eminent poet, anthologist, and perpetual boy scholar, Louis Antomatta.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you for adding the scholar. I was a little bit worried about that perpetual boy. But here to my right is my favorite Broadway columnist and girl about town, Dorothy Kilgallen.
Thank you, Larry. And I would like to introduce that wonderful Toastmaster, raconteur, and former governor of New Jersey, Harold Hoffman.
Thank you, Dorothy, for not pronouncing that racketeer. And we have here the distinguished news analyst, commentator, and our moderator, Mr. John Daly.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line. In fact, welcome to our premiere telecast of What's My Line. And I certainly hope our distinguished panelists, members of our panel tonight, are going to do a fine job of human analysis. In other words, be able to answer the question, what's my line? Now, to start things rolling, I'd like the panel to meet our first challenger, whose occupation it's their job to ferret out. Will you sign in, please, miss? Pat Finch. Pat Finch, will you come over here, please, Miss Finch? Well, it is Miss Finch, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All right, now, first of all, tell us where you live.
I live in Manhattan.
You nervous, Pat?
Just slightly.
Oh, don't be. Take a look at the panel. You haven't got a thing to worry about. Now, one thing the panel wants to do is to get a closer look at you. So would you please walk over to the end position, Dr. Hoffman's position, and any reasonable requests they make while you meet, if they'd like to look at your hands or anything like that.
A finch may be a bird, may be a fish, both agile. Would you do a kick for me?
Oh. This is a very tight skirt.
Well, Pat, I'll let you out. You can do the kick. We'll accept that. How about you, Mr. Undermeyer?
Finch, would you just come a little closer in a nice way? Is that which I'm inhaling, is that arpege or my sin? I mean, my sin in a perfumed sense.
Neither.
Neither. Well, I've lost that.
All right, Miss Kilgallen, you have a chance.
Is there a label in your suit?
Yes, there is.
Could I see it, please? If it wouldn't be embarrassing, I mean.
Uh-huh.
That's a very nice label. We won't say it out loud, I don't think. What about you, Governor Hoffman?
Miss Finch, would you balance this book upon your head, please? And walk.
Oh, that's very good, Pat. Well, I think that's enough of that. Miss Finch, come over here and sit down next to me, if you will, please. And now I tell you what happens at this point. We let the panel, on the basis of your handwriting, what you've said, how you've said it, and a close look at you, take one wild free guess as to what your line is. We'll begin the wild free guesses with Governor Hoffman.
Well, don't you think, Mr. Daly, you should first tell us whether she's self-employed?
Oh, I might tell you that later on. You go ahead and take your wild free guess.
All right. The way she balanced that book, I think she's a bookkeeper, an erratic bookkeeper.
An erratic bookkeeper. Well, what about you, Miss Kilgallen?
I think she's a student of the drama.
A student of the drama. Mr. Undermeyer?
I think she gathers statistics for rain in North Dakota.
Oh, no, you wouldn't want her to go to North Dakota. What about you, Dr. Hoffman?
Well, in view of the fact that she thought her skirt was embarrassing her kicking, I still believe she belongs to Terpsichore.
To Terpsichore? Well, that must be the other side of Great Britain, undoubtedly. But anyway, you're all wrong. And now that we have had some wild guesses, I want our viewers at home to get a really close look at Miss Finch. At the same time, they will find out exactly what Miss Finch's line is, but the panel will not. Now, panel, you know the rules. Individually and in turn, you can answer or ask questions, and as long as you get the answer yes, you can continue. When you get an answer no, it costs the panel $5, 10 no's, and the panel has lost the game, and Miss Finch wins. As many times as you get an answer no from her, Miss Finch will gather $5 into her treasure chest. Well, now that we've gotten this far, we give the panel one more bit of help, if you don't mind, Miss Finch. We'll tell you that she is salaried. We'll move from the particular to the general, and we'll begin the general questions with Miss Kilgallen.
Are you engaged in selling services as opposed to products?
Yes, I am.
Does the employment take you from place to place?
No.
You remain static.
One down and 9 to go. And Mr. Untermeyer.
Miss Finch, you sell services in one particular place, I gather. Should I say a very particular place? Or
Yes.
isn't it? It is a very particular place. That is, it is a particular location. In this location, do people pay to look at you?
Well,
I will answer that question for Miss Finch. They don't directly pay to look at her, but
No.
a man would be an idiot if he didn't think that that
A
was
man-
part of what he was paying.
I will take that hint, Mr. Daly. A man would be an idiot not to look at her. Do more men pay it? Do more men look at you than women in this very particular place?
yes.
They do. Can't understand that. Is your field entertainment rather than education?
Well, no.
No, 2 down and 8 to go. You got rather far afield there, I'm afraid, Mr. Untermeyer. Dr. Hoffman, we now get to you.
Well, I don't think she has to work at entertaining. Looking at her is entertaining. But do you work in a field where your beauty contributes to your ability to earn a salary?
Yes, I would say so. Yes. Don't be misled too much, but the answer would be yes.
Do you sit at your work?
No.
I will accept the question as not having been asked and say that she would sit some of the time, stand some of the time. You can go ahead, Dr. Hoffman.
Do you work for more than one person?
No.
That's 3 down and 7 to go, I believe. Now, Governor Hoffman, it's your turn. You're on the block.
Are you, in your present occupation, generally attired as you are at present in the same style? Speak close.
No.
No, she is not, but I don't think it would be fair to strike you out in the questioning for that. She could, by some stretch of the imagination, wear ordinary street clothes, although she would have a tendency.
Do you generally wear a uniform or costume?
Yes.
Are your services performed in a theater?
No.
That is 4 down and 6 to go, and Miss Kilgallen, you have a chance again.
Is your profession one that is usually regarded by young girls as fairly glamorous?
Yes.
Does your profession require any particular specifications as to height, weight, etc.?
No.
That's 5 down and 5 to
area.
go, and Mr. Untermeyer, I hope that you can prune this tree a little bit.
In your particular profession, do you deal with more men than with women? Deal is not the right word. I should say, do you care more for men? I don't mean do you care for... I'm terribly sorry.
That's all right.
Do you
Have fun.
take care of men or any parts of their possessions or things like that?
Yes.
Oh, you do? Consultation, please.
You can have 20 seconds for consultation.
We are of one mind here. We are of one mind here, that it might be something in a restaurant.
Hat check girl.
A hat check girl, says my
Would you like to
friend.
put the question?
Are you a hat check girl?
Yes, I am.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Untermeyer. Yes. Miss Finch is a hat check girl in the Stock Club panel. I thought perhaps a couple of old rounders like Doctors Hoffman and Poet Untermeyer would know her on sight. Well, congratulations, Miss Finch. You won 5 times, so you will win $25 tonight. And thanks a lot for coming up to play What's My Line.
Thank
Is
you.
it true that the stork brought her here?
The stork practically did. Well, thanks very much, Miss Finch. Any postmortems, panel? Do you feel that you did rather well that time?
Oh, I think that wasn't bad at all for the first one.
I think you did very well. Let's move on and find out who our next challenger is. Would you sign in, please, sir? Arthur Feinberg. Well, Mr. Feinberg, come over here and stand beside me for just a moment, and if you will, tell us where you live.
Brooklyn.
Have you... Brooklyn! This usually produces applause. Everybody must be from New Jersey tonight. Well, Mr. Feinberg, do you feel very nervous when you look at this talented panel of ours?
Only from the knees down.
Only from the knees down you're nervous. Well, take those knees over, if you will, to the far side of the panel, and any reasonable request they make of you, will you please accede to them?
I'd just like to shake hands with you.
All right.
Could I feel your muscle, please?
I have a geographical question to ask. Mr. Feinberg, as one Brooklyn man to another, I'm a Remsen Street boy myself. What part of Brooklyn are you from?
Bensonhurst.
Oh, well.
That does. Well, I think that's enough, Mr. Feinberg. You come on over here and sit down next to me. I don't think the panel needs to find out any more from a close look at you. And now, as you probably have noticed, we give the panel one wild free guess on the basis of your handwriting, what you've said, how you've said it, and their good close look at you. Governor Hoffman, will you begin with the wild guesses, please?
Well, I think Mr. Feinberg's a manufacturer.
Miss Kilgallen.
Yes, I'll go even further. I think he's a manufacturer of men's clothing.
Mr. Untermeyer.
I think that he is a professional Dodger roofer.
That probably is true, but unfortunately it isn't the full answer. What about you, Dr. Hoffman?
I place him in the garment trade.
You place him in the garment trade. Well, you're all wrong, and once again, we're going to let our viewers at home get a good close look at Mr. Feinberg, and they will find out at the same time what his line is. Panel, you know the rules. You ask questions, yes. Get a no answer, and it's going to cost you $5. And if you get 10 no's, the panel is licked. Well, I think we've made a very good beginning. Now, I'm going to give you this much help and tell you that Mr. Feinberg is self-employed. Is that right, Mr. Feinberg? Or are you salaried?
I'm salaried.
Mr. Feinberg is salaried. He works for somebody else. Now, with that as a starter, Mr. Untermeyer, suppose you begin the general question.
Well, the audience has completely thrown me off by their raucous
We were hoping they would.
I think we'll get Mr. Feinberg off the stand and put the audience on instead.
You go ahead with the
I
question.
gathered from the laughter that Mr. Feinberg is nothing of a manufacturer whatsoever. He's probably a highly priced educator. And I would guess, and I'm going to ask...
Could we have a question
Yes,
instead of
I
all
would be
this
glad to
applause?
ask. Are you in a field which is educational?
No.
No, that is one down. And 9 to go. Dr. Hoffman?
Are you in a field which is serviceable?
You mean by that, does he...
That people need what you sell? Or
let's see.
Yes.
You'd say so.
Doesn't he know?
did he
Is
say
he
he knows?
Yes.
He say he was employed.
Yes. Salary.
Do you go from place to place in your work?
Part of the time.
And is your work competitive?
Yes.
And do you sell things that go up to pretty high figures?
Well, now, we haven't as yet... I'd like to stop you here, because we haven't as yet adduced any particulars as to what he sells, whether it be services or products.
The commodity with which you're occupied. I suppose there is some commodity with which he's occupied, anywhere
This
from
is a
tens to
reasonable
houses.
assumption, but I was just making the point, Dr.
Yes.
Hoffman, that it has not as yet been adduced as to whether he sold services or products. Well, it might help you.
I might ask then, do you sell services?
Yes.
And with those services, is there an occasional product?
I'm mercenary.
Yes, is the answer to that.
And is that by services you mean advice?
Would you like to ask the
Yes,
question?
I'd like. Do you mean advice? That you give advice to
No.
people?
No, that's 2 down and 8 to
Actual
go.
service.
But some valuable information has been gleaned. How about you, Governor Hoffman? You're on the block
Feinberg,
now.
you consider that you're engaged in a profession. It's against the business. It's a profession. Yes.
Well, now, wait a minute. I have to move in here. It's not strictly, as we interpret business and professions, a profession.
Well,
no, it's 3 down and 7 to
could I-
go, and I'm afraid Miss Kilgallen takes over.
Oh, you answered no.
Yes.
This
Great.
must be the most unusual business.
It's a bit unusual. It's not uncommon, but it's a bit unusual.
You say that the service that you sell and the occasional product is a necessity.
Well, I would help you
Well, rather
this
than a
much.
luxury, shall we say.
Yes, it can be, but don't be misled too much by occasional. We answered the question yes because it was phrased that way. It's not necessarily an occasional product. I mean, leave your mind open on that score.
Well, may I ask a direct question?
You certainly
Is
may.
there a product involved? Do you sell a product as well as your services?
No. No, but you were very close. That's 4 down and 6 to go. That's a moot point which needs clarification.
Would you like to clarify it?
What about, Doctor? He does not sell the product. That's the point there. What about you, Doctor? Rather, Mr. Louis Undermeyer. I think it's your turn.
Would you be occupied with a technique, a manipulation, rather than something with a machine?
No. So I think we could answer that question. Manipulation plays a large part in the end product of his service. So let us withdraw that question. You go ahead.
Are you connected in any branch with any branch of medicine?
No. No. That's 5 down and 5 to go, and we've spent quite a bit of time on Mr. Feinberg, so I'll give the panel just a little bit longer on this one.
Mr. Feinberg, do you have to do a great deal of convincing in order to sell your services? Do you meet with opposition?
Yes.
And do you work mostly, are your services mostly extended to women?
Yes.
When their husbands aren't home?
Really?
Well, they may be selling carpet sweepers. How do I know? I don't know it.
Yes, I agree.
Could we have a consultation?
All right, I'll give you 15 seconds for consultation.
He has a product. He has a product.
I think he's a brick
But he doesn't sell a product. Could it be like those television sets that they put in your home, but they don't sell them? They rent them or they leave them?
Consultation period is over. Dr. Hoffman, please continue with the question.
Has your work anything to do with any form of insurance?
No. That is 6 down and 4 to go, and I think I'm going to let Mr. Feinberg win by default because you're not moving even close to the area. Mr. Feinberg is a diaper company service salesman. Is that right, Mr. Feinberg?
That's right, the Cascade Diaper Company.
Thank you very much for coming up to see us. That means that you win $50 and you stumped our panel and thanks to
That's getting below the belt, isn't it?
We have a...
Well, I tell you what, you can all take this out of my hide afterwards. Now let's get on with our game, and let's see who our next challenger is. Would you sign in, please, sir?
If a diaper doesn't give insurance, I don't know what does.
Seymour.
If it isn't a necessity, I don't know what is.
Seymour Kalabny. Mr. Kalabny, come over here and stand beside me, will you? Dr. Hoffman just said a diaper does give insurance, so you can see we're going to have some trouble after the show. How do you feel about it? Yes or no? Well, where do you live? Tell us that.
Forest Hills.
You live in Forest Hills. Well, Mr. Kalabny, would you, as you've seen our friends, you've got some friends here. Stand over by Dr. Hoffman and walk by the panel, accede to any reasonable demands they make.
How do you do, How do you do, Doctor? You wouldn't care to sing one line of a song for me, would you? First line of any song, you know.
You can say no.
I want to say no, but I also want to sing.
Say no, I think.
No.
Oh, no, let's hear it.
Show me the way to go home.
Okay.
All right,
That way.
This way. I think you probably frightened the panel out of their wits with that, Mr. McCullough. Now, will you sit down here for just a moment? As you know, they get one wild free guess now on the basis of your handwriting, what you've said, how you've said it, and how you look. Dr. Hoffman, would you, or rather, Governor Hoffman, begin the free guesses?
That's all right. I'm a doctor, too, but I'll tell you about that some other time.
All right, fine. I'm confused enough as it is. You say Governor.
Free guess, I think he's a taxi driver.
That's wrong. What about you, Miss Kilgallen?
I think he's a subway guard.
That's wrong. What about you, Mr.
I
Undermeyer?
think he's an income tax misleader.
That's wrong. What about you, Dr. Hoffman?
I think he's interested in alcohol. I mean, not in drinking it.
Well, he might have a slight interest in alcohol. Who knows? But now let's have our viewers at home get a good close look at Mr. Kalabny, and meanwhile they'll learn what his line is. Panel, you know the rules, and you should be all ready to go with your questions. No answers cost you $5. Let's begin the general questioning. After telling you that Mr. Kalabny is self-employed, let's begin the general questioning with Governor Hoffman.
Mr. Kalabny, does your work require you to use a vehicle? No.
1 down and 9 to go. That's Kilgallen.
Do
a taxi driver there,
That's right.
you consider yourself a businessman?
I have to, sure.
That is, as opposed to a professional man.
Would you like to rephrase that question, because it might be very important?
Well, do you consider...
Say, are you?
Are you a businessman?
Oh, I think today in making a living, you have to be a businessman.
Yes, but I think that's a moot issue. We'll have to call that 2 down and 8 to go. He is not a businessman. Mr. Undermeyer?
If you are not a businessman, Are you what we would call a professional?
Yes.
You profess to be a professional.
Thank you. Yes.
Professional.
Yes.
Good. Do you deal with the well-being of your clients rather than their beauty?
No.
Oh, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Your well-being is much more important than your
Yeah.
client's
Well,
beauty.
after you are through with them, that is, if you ever are through with them, do they feel better? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, they would be. You operate on, or if you operate, on all sorts of things. For instance, would I be better after you finished with me?
No.
That's 3 down and 7 to go. Dr. Hoffman, it's now your ball to carry.
I know you can't improve, Louis. Anyway, that was really a question you shouldn't have asked. However, do you use tools in your work?
Yes.
Are they small tools, you know, hand tools or machine tools?
Hand tools.
Hand tools. Did you have to go to any particular school to learn your
Yes.
profession? Did it require a degree?
Yes.
Do you have patients or clients? Or both?
Both.
Do they sit when they come to you?
Yes.
Do they change position from time to time?
Yes.
Do you give them comfort or pain or both?
Both.
Are you a dentist?
No.
That's 4 down and 6 to go, and back to you, Governor Hoffman.
Does your profession bring you into physical contact with your patients or clients?
Yes.
Are you, by any chance, a chiropractor?
No.
That is 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you have a title?
Yes.
Are you a doctor? Are you called doctor?
Yes.
Well, are you a psychiatrist?
No.
That's 6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Undermeyer.
He denied that vehemently. Dr. Hoffman.
You're a doctor. You deal, I presume, with living things, with living beings.
Usually, yes.
Both sexes?
Yes.
Conference? May we have a conference?
You may have 15 seconds for
May we have a
a
conference? Living things. I'll bet he's a veterinarian.
I do too.
Yes.
All right,
Do you deal with animals?
Yes.
Are you an animal doctor? Are you a veterinarian?
Very good. Thank you very much. You won 6 times, and so you do get a prize, and congratulations to our panel. They did very well. And now we have something special. Panel, you remember I told you we'd be using masks tonight. Now, before we introduce our next challenger to you panel members, we're going to give you an even greater handicap than you faced with the first 3. We're not going to let you see him. If we did, you'd recognize him immediately because he's a celebrity. So you don't see him. I'm going to ask Madeline Tyler to pass out blindfolds to you. And will you please see that they're on very securely, Miss Tyler? Yes, I thought Miss Tyler would enhance the scenery here quite a bit. I see the audience agrees with us. All right, let's see. Dr. Hoffman has his mask on. Mr. Undermeyer?
You mean I can't even look at Miss Tyler?
Well, you can't. I'm sorry. You're penalized already on that.
I don't know what Miss Tyler's line is, but I bet she has a good one.
That's a fine mask they have for you there,
Yes,
Miss
I have a
Kilgallen.
glamour one. Isn't that
Yes,
wonderful?
that's for girls.
This is going to ruin my mascara.
And I think that Mr. Undermeyer's mask improves his appearance a good deal. Maybe we ought to get him
That's a dirty crack, John Dale.
get him one to use all the time. All right, now it's up to you to identify our guest celebrity. Are all the masks on so that you can't see them? Okay, will our celebrity please come on stage now and sign up? Will you sign up there on the white sheet of paper, and I will call you Mr. X, if you don't mind, because we don't want the panel to know too much about you. I'm not going to allow you any wild guesses on this panel. Would you come over and sit down, Mr. X, please? Now, I want to say this. The money that is lost to our Mr. X is going to go to the Heart Foundation. All right, let's see how quickly you can identify Mr. X, and we'll start with Miss Kilgallen.
Well, if you're a celebrity, are you tall, dark, and handsome?
No. I think we'll have to accept the no there, but it doesn't have to do with the handsome part of it. That's 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Undermeyer.
Are you small, dark, and handsome?
Well, partly.
Yes, I think. You go ahead, Mr. Untermeyer.
The answer is yes. Good.
Yes.
Are you, judging from that fine, vibrant tenor, a singer?
No.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, and it's yours, Dr. Hoffman.
In spite of the fact that you're a celebrity, do you consider your life worthwhile?
Certainly.
I didn't hear.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
In other words, you give comfort or joy or substance to people.
Well,
Yes, we'll take a yes on that. You see, Doctor, our time is running out very
Well,
rapidly.
are you engaged in art?
Well, it could be. Withdraw the question.
Are you engaged in a science?
You want to withdraw that one? No, I think that's 3 down and 7 to go. Can't give you any more leeway. Governor Hoffman, you might be able to do very well with this one.
I do not think you're in the field of government. Am I right? That's right.
That's very well questioned.
Do you work indoors? Do you generally work outdoors? Yes.
We have only a minute and a half.
Are you engaged in the field of sports? Yes.
Joe DiMaggio, I bet.
No, he's not in town.
Are you connected with a sport that is generally not being played at this time of year? Yes. Are you connected with the sport in New York? Yes. In greater New York? Yes. If I said that you are not with the Brooklyn Dodgers, would I be right? You would be.
Very good. Continue, Mr. Governor Hoffman.
If I said you were with some New York aggregation of athletes, would I be right? Yes.
I can only give you a little more time, Governor Hoffman, so you'll have to drive for the finish.
Well, I think I have this fellow.
All right, well, let's take a try, because I'm going to have to cut
Two
you
in
off.
mind. I think it's Phil Rizzuto.
Phil Rizzuto is right. Congratulations. And Phil, tell us, what do you do during these off-season days?
Well, I work in the American shop, the clothing store over Newark.
Oh, how's business?
Pretty good.
The American shop's over Newark. Well, I must say, you should be able to sell a suit very well and very fast. And thanks a lot for being our celebrity
You
guest
still live in
on
New Jersey,
What's My
Phil?
Line.
Yes,
Mr. Daly?
that's good.
I
Yes.
stick to my original guess. I still think that Phil would make a very good singer.
Oh, I think he'd make a wonderful singer, but he's one of the finest baseball players that ever came down the
Can you
track.
sing with
That's
Ralph
the
Franklin?
important thing. Thanks again very much for being our celebrity guest on What's My Line tonight, Phil Rizzuto, and a very fine piece of work, Governor Hoffman. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to say that our time for this evening is up. So, until 2 weeks from tonight, when once again we'll try to see how good we are at spotting the occupation of our challengers, I will have to say good night, Dr. Hoffman.
And good night, Louis Untermeyer.
And good night, Dorothy Kilgallen.
And good night, Harold Hoffman.
And good night, John Daly.
And good night, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for being with us on What's My Line.
What's My Line has been presented by CBS in association with Goodson Todman Productions. Produced by Gil Pate and directed by Paul Monroe.